Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the place you come to when you get that huge stack of info and you need the key takeaways, like right now. Basically your shortcut to being well-informed.
That's right. And today we're diving into the really fascinating career of Zoltan Vlasits.
Yeah, it's quite a story. Someone whose, well, lifelong thing for technology took him from way back, early programming, right up to the absolute cutting edge of AI today.
It really is a journey that shows how, that early curiosity, that initial spark can just blossom into serious innovation. We're going to trace his path, starting with those foundational programming languages, BASIC and the like, all the way to him developing this really powerful, custom-built local AI system.
Okay, so our mission today, unpack the big moments in his career, definitely explore the tech side of his AI solution because it's pretty unique, and get a handle on his vision for AI, how it can actually help human work, not just, well, replace it.
And what's so interesting, I think, is that consistent thread you see. Problem solving, always looking ahead, right from when he first got his hands on a computer.
Okay, so let's jump back right to the start. It's clear this programming thing wasn't just some passing phase for Zoltan. It started way back in grade school. What got him hooked?
Well, you can almost pinpoint it. The arrival of the Sinclair ZX81 and then the Spectrum 48K.
Oh yeah, the classics.
Right. And for him, it wasn't just playing the games. He was instantly fascinated by how they worked. He wanted to write his own games, strategy games, action games, even in BASIC.
Wow. And I heard this great little anecdote that he'd actually be like writing code in his notebooks during math class.
Yeah. Apparently not his math teacher's favorite thing.
I can imagine.
But it shows how deep it went. Right. And it wasn't just him tinkering. He and his dad were reading like every professional magazine and book they could find on the topic, even joined computer clubs.
So a real deep dive from the get-go.
Absolutely. A real dedication to understanding this whole emerging IT world. Pretty forward thinking for back then.
And then that led to actual hands-on experience, like a summer job.
Yeah, his first real taste was a summer job as a computer operator on PCXT machines. Remember those?
Oh, yeah.
And he was still doing hobby game development, trying out languages like Pascal and Flash later on. That whole period, it just built this really solid foundation, kind of set the stage for his first entrepreneurial move.
Which was co-founding a company.
Exactly. His first company, back in Hungary. They focused on computer sales and service. And think about this. This is the modem and dial-up internet era.
Right. Slow.
Painfully slow. But even then, he saw the potential of the internet. He was already building websites for himself and for the company.
That shows some serious foresight.
It really does. And from there, he just kept building skills. Web development, HTML, PHP, JavaScript, MySQL, building news portals, registration systems. He even did a stint in IT, wholesale, service manager, purchaser.
So looking back at that early part, what's the takeaway? What does it tell us?
I think it's a really clear picture of how that deep, persistent curiosity, when you combine it with practical, self-driven learning, it just naturally leads you down these different paths.
It wasn't like a straight line.
Not at all. It was about following interests, building skills, solving the problems right in front of him. That seems to be the pattern.
Okay, that pattern, solving problems, that really clicks into place with his next big move, right? Joining Hertz Hungary as a service manager. Now, that sounds like fixing things, but it wasn't just that.
No, absolutely not. And this is, I think, a really interesting point. How do you turn basically a maintenance job into a development one?
How did you do it?
Well, he quickly saw where their software systems were falling short, but instead of just, writing a report about it,
You fixed it.
he built solutions,
Yeah.
custom, full-stack solutions. He wasn't just pointing out problems, he was architecting answers.
So creating things like CRM systems, ERP, booking systems, that's a huge leap from service manager.
It really is. And get this, he was doing all of this while also getting his formal information technology technical engineer diploma.
Wow. So practical experience and formal learning combined.
Right. It just speaks to that drive, continuous improvement. And eventually the demand for his software, it just grew and grew.
To the point where?
To the point where his own company became a full-scope subcontractor for Hertz. They were handling everything, development, IT buying, servicing, even running their Linux servers.
That's a serious evolution from employee to key contractor.
Exactly. And he didn't stop there either. The company started offering software development and tech support to other small businesses too. Grew, hired staff. It's that progression again. Individual passion scaling up into a proper business.
Okay, so let's fast forward. because that same curiosity, that same drive, it's now focused on, well, the big topic, artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
What's pulling him towards AI now?
Yeah, it's like that same energy, that passion for what's next in tech. It's just fully channeled into AI now, understanding it, programming it. And he's not just reading about it. He's built his own AI server.
Okay, now this is, I think, a really crucial point, especially for anyone listening who's, wrestling with data privacy concerns around all the cloud AI stuff.
Absolutely.
He built a local AI assistant, runs entirely on his own hardware.
Exactly. Completely on premise, which means, one, it's customizable. And two, crucially, none of your data, none of the prompts, nothing gets sent out to some external cloud service.
That's a game changer for a lot of businesses.
It really is. It directly tackles those big worries about data security, data sovereignty. And the tech behind it is pretty modern open source stuff. Things like Fast API, that's a Python framework for building APIs quickly.
Okay.
LangChain, which is sort of like the glue for connecting different AI components and data sources. He's using Llama to actually run the large language models locally.
So Llama lets you run models like Llama 3 directly on your machine.
Precisely. And Face for vector storage, think of that as a super fast index, so the AI can search through documents or data incredibly quickly. And then JWT, JSON Web Tokens, for secure access.
It sounds like he's thought about the whole stack, not just the AI model itself. Security seems key too.
Oh, absolutely. Beyond the AI core, he's really gone deep on secure server setup, both hardware and software. We're talking robust stuff, RAID for storage redundancy.
So if a drive fails, the data's safe.
Exactly. Using Docker to manage all the different services in containers, which is efficient and secure. Traefik as a reverse proxy that handled incoming traffic securely, manages SSL certificates. Dynjinx, Apache for web serving, proper backup systems in place, fail to ban to automatically block malicious login attempts, UFW firewalls, plus comprehensive monitoring for everything.
It's a very holistic approach then. Secure, reliable AI deployment built from the ground up.
That's exactly it.
So, okay, we've seen the journey, the tech.
Right.
What's the big picture? What's Zoltan's overall vision for AI? Where does he see this going?
Well, his main goal seems to be really mastering AI, but using that knowledge to simplify things for companies, for individuals, making this kind of powerful tech accessible.
Accessible and presumably safer, given the local focus.
Right. Helping businesses see the potential, especially when they have those data privacy concerns. He talks about very concrete benefits, like boosting efficiency, automating the boring stuff, better customer service support, pulling insights from data much faster, making better decisions based on that data, real tangible gains.
Stuff businesses can actually use.
Exactly. And if you zoom out, his core belief, it seems, is that AI isn't here to replace us. It's here to complement us, to strengthen what we do.
That's a positive spin. Empowering almost.
It is. It's an optimistic view, but grounded in the kind of controllable private AI he's building. He wants to contribute to that vision professionally.
Okay, now for everyone who loves the tech details, and I know a lot of you do, Zoltan actually shared some really specific info about his private test server. This isn't just talk. It's a real system.
Oh, yeah, he did. And it's quite the setup for a private server. Hardware-wise, he's running an Intel Core i7-13700K CPU. That's 16 cores. Pretty beefy.
Handles the processing.
Yeah.
And the GPU, because that's crucial for local AI, right?
Absolutely. He's got an Asus Prime GeForce RTX 4070 OC with 12 GB of VRAM. That's serious power for running those large language models locally without relying on the cloud. And 64 gigabytes of RAM.
Wow. Okay, so plenty of memory. And storage.
Storage is interesting. There's a fast 2TB NVMe SSD, a Samsung 990 PRO for the operating system and apps, but then crucially 3 4TB Samsung QVO SSDs set up in RAID 5.
Okay, RAID 5. So that gives them redundancy and speed.
Exactly. If one of those 4TB drives fails, the data is still safe, and it combines their capacity and gives a performance boost. It nets out to about 8 terabytes of usable space for all the data, the AI models, virtual machines, everything.
And the operating system.
He's running Debian 12, Bookworm, solid Linux choice, and the whole thing is managed using Docker containers.
Right. You mentioned Docker. How's that set up?
It's pretty well architected. Traffic is the front door, acting as that dynamic reverse proxy, handling SSL automatically, routing traffic securely.
Okay.
Then NGINs as a web server. He's even got separate containers for different PHP versions using PHP FPM so we can run various web apps, and MariaDB for the database needs. It's a flexible, powerful base layer.
And on top of that base layer sits the actual AI backend.
Correct. Built in Python, using that fast API framework for the REST API. It uses a llama to serve up the models, could be Llama 3, or he mentioned a specific Hungarian model, Sambalingo Hungarian chat.
So it can be multilingual potentially.
Potentially, yeah. It uses FS for that fast vector searching we talked about, essential for finding relevant info in documents. And LangChain helps it process different document types, Markdown, PDF, JSON.
So what can it actually do, functionality-wise?
Well, the key things are answering questions based on documents you feed it, all processed locally using that GPU power, secure access using JWT. It provides streaming responses, so you see the text appear bit by bit, feels faster, plus logging and resource monitoring.
And there's a way to interact with it, a front end.
Yeah, the current demo uses WordPress with the DVI builder for the front end. There's a chat widget integrated as a floating panel, and he actually shared the demo link, https://hertz.mahate.uu. So people can, check it out.
We should mention the security again, because he seems really focused on that.
Definitely. JWT tokens secure the API endpoints. Traefik adds security headers and handles compression. SSL encryption is automated via Let's Encrypt. UFW firewall rules are active, and fail to ban is watching logs to block attackers.
Wow.
He's even using geo-IP filtering to block traffic from certain regions if needed, and gets alerts via email or Telegram if something suspicious happens.
And backups, version control.
Yep. Automated backup scripts are running, and he uses Git for version control on all the code. It's thorough.
So what's next for this project? Where does he see it going?
He's got plans, thinking about mobile front ends, maybe a PWA or React Native app, voice interaction, integrating speech to text and text to speech.
So you can talk to it.
Exactly. Broader multi-language support, letting users maybe choose which AI model they want to use on their end, and even more granular data privacy settings. It's clear he's thinking long-term about building a really adaptable, powerful, and private AI solution. When you look at Zoltan Vlasits' whole journey, it's just such a powerful example of what happens when you combine that relentless curiosity with real hands-on problem solving.
Yeah, from tinkering with BASIC on a Sinclair.
Right. All the way through building complex business systems and now this sophisticated private AI server. He just kept adapting, learning, building, always building something practical.
And his current work, this localized, secure AI, it really embodies that belief he has, doesn't it? That tech should help us, empower us.
Exactly. It's not just building cool tech for its own sake. It's building it responsibly, with a clear idea of how it can actually improve things for people and for businesses, especially by tackling those big concerns like data privacy and giving users control.
It's a different approach than just throwing everything into the cloud.
It really is. And that brings up a really interesting question for you listening right now. As AI keeps evolving so fast, how might these ideas, local control, security, customization, like Zoltan is demonstrating, how might that change your thinking about using AI in your work, in your life? What kind of new possibilities open up when you know your AI is truly private?
That's definitely something to think about. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive today. It's been a really inspiring look at one person's tech journey.
Absolutely.
We hope it's given you some fresh perspectives on innovation, problem solving, and maybe a more hopeful view of the future of AI.